Hey, everybody. The Cowboys beat the brakes off Cleveland. Brian's here. Does that mean that you've already, because you're a psycho, have you already watched like tape of the game?
Yes.
Here's
I've got maybe 6 defensive plays left in the fourth quarter. That's it. But yeah,
okay.
You gave me an extra 30 minutes. I thought we were going to go at 8:30, which was good. I appreciate you doing that. The extra 30 minutes actually helped me, and I got to watch a little special team stuff too while we were going along. So good to be with you, Jeffrey, this morning. But yeah, I got up at about 5:45 today and started watching tape.
Oh, we love it.
Yeah.
So can I just fire a bunch of random things at you?
Sure.
Okay. First one that I am curious about because I think it's hard to tell in real time when you're just watching a football game. Cooper Beebe and Tyler Guyton. Like Myles Garrett, I know I noticed him a few times, but he didn't wreck the game. How would you say that the offensive linemen, the rookies, played?
Which one would you like first?
Give me Guyton.
Guyton. Yeah, the deal with Guyton is going to be much better run blocking in this game. You know, the thing that we've kind of noticed when we were with him in training camp is that at Oklahoma, you didn't always see the quality of a run blocker. You didn't see the guy that can, get his hands inside and get push and cut guys off. And, he did a much better job of that. There was this game where it wasn't all Myles Garrett over him. He had to deal with some other guys throughout the game. And so, for the most part in the run blocking stuff, I thought he did okay. He's got to work on his sustain a little bit better, but you could see the effort. You could see the willingness to try to get the technique right, to get his hands inside. You could see he's a little conscious about maybe holding, but overall that part of it was really, really good. He was in survival mode as a pass blocker, and that's where all of a sudden, this is what Myles Garrett will do to you. He will break you down in a way that first step power, the quickness, the ability to gain a lot of ground, that's a problem. And the Cowboys, there was some chipping going on over there. There was some, with the alignment stuff. But for the most part, they did their best to try and see if Tyler Guyton could do the job. The one sack was rough. The one where he got hit, where Myles Garrett hit Prescott from behind and the ball went flying out. He had no shot on that one. I mean, literally got beat out of his stance, and it took everything he could athletically to able to even maybe hold Garrett. From maybe even crushing Dak worse than he did. But the pass block stuff, he's just his feet and his hands in this particular game, and we've seen it some in the preseason, just don't work right as we speak. He'll get better. When he had the other opportunities, when Smith was over him and it was a little bit more of a comfortable situation. You could just tell. Hell, even on the other side, Steele. I thought Steele played a hell of a game. I thought he played a hell of a game. Smith played well. I was worried about Steele in this game. I was worried about that they were going to put Jim Schwartz was going to put, Garrett over him and rush, but Steele held up. There was only the one time that he gave up a sack. He just got overpowered, and that's going to happen to Steele. When people take him inside, he can't set his feet. But to get back with Guyton and stuff, man, it was a survival mode game. It really was. It was a couple of times where he was able to sit down, hands inside, but like I say, Garrett. He's a problem, and some of these some of these other rushers are problems as well. Beebe, where we got to watch Beebe is that there was some stuff. The way they tried to run the ball in this game was they got. I call it with some creativity because in tasks we've seen the Cowboys just try to kind of maybe zone it and then see if the backs can make cuts out of that. They tried some stuff with trapping. Is what they did. They tried some pulling. They tried some athletic things. We saw with the way to get the ball to the edge was the jet sweep stuff. So the inside stuff was there were a couple of times where Beebe looked like to me he was a little bit late getting to where he needed to be. Maybe he wasn't exactly sure where he needed to be. They tried to push and didn't get guys to the second level, which kind of affected the way the play was going. I don't know what happened. I mean, give Dak Prescott a lot of credit on that touchdown pass, the first one he threw to Cooks.
Oh God, he threw it so early.
because he literally had a linebacker, and they had 4 guys blocking 3, and I'm thinking, okay, BB Smith, somebody over here gonna. But Dak did a great job of knowing what's going on. I mean, they got the matchup they wanted. Thornhill didn't even move. It's like watching a Major League Baseball player play outfield, and when the ball, like Aaron Judge smashes it into the crowd, and the guy doesn't even move. That's kind of what Thornhill looked like in coverage there. But BB, I think BB is going to learn that second level blocks. He's got to find a way. If he, don't stay on the guy too long. Get to the second level. Your angle has to be a little bit better. But he and Smith and Martin, those guys, they'll get the hang of that.
I want to get to the defensive tackles, but I decided that they need to wait because I just want to talk about the guy that was my favorite guy to watch. Like DeMarvion Overshown moves faster than anyone ever, and Micah Parsons is on this team. And I saw a place where Overshown goes running by Parsons, and I was like, "Holy crap, what a monster!" Was he consistently good and right? Because I mean, he flashed everywhere.
Yeah, the linebacker room as a whole was really good in this football game, and even Maris Leofau got like 3 plays where he was involved in, and you could see, it was one of the sacks. I mean, he steps up and, they're taking on blocks and attacking. Kendricks was outstanding in this game. And, but overall, they had a really good rotation of linebackers in this thing, and they were able to play off each other. They played square. They played downhill. They played well in coverage when they were asked to do that. When they had to blitz, they were affecting the pocket. The thing with Overshown, it's very clear, and you have to give him and Britt Brown a lot of credit for this. In the past, we've seen where these knee injury guys, it's taken them 5-6 games to come back and be ready to play. And I think that you look at 2 guys in this game that were coming off major knee injuries, and they from the word go were available and ready to play. That was Overshown, and that was Diggs. Diggs in the way that he covered, the way that he moved. But you get back to your point, Overshown was it just wasn't the speed that he plays with. The violence of his tackling, his ability to wrap up. He's not going to get cheated on a tackle. He's going to beat blockers. He reads really quick. These are all just for a young guy. I mean, you basically, this is a rookie playing. I mean, this cat's his first NFL, start. I mean, played preseason games and stuff, but when the lights were on, all these linebackers stepped up in this football game, and give Mike Zimmer and that crew a lot of credit for having these guys ready to play, because they gave this quarterback a lot of different looks, and some of the sack, one of the last sacks that I was watching there, the Kendricks sack. I mean, he brings Jordan Lewis on a blitz. It's the first time he's running a slot blitz all day, and he brings Jordan Lewis on the blitz. Lewis gets home. What does he do? He drops Parsons and he drops Tank, on the play. So now he's fire zoning this thing. So he's got all this pressure coming up the middle, and 2 of his best pass rushers are playing coverage. And
Can I tell you?
Yeah.
If that ever doesn't work, I'm gonna be so mad at him.
Oh, but I tell you what, man, it was the first time he showed it. It was the first time he showed it with Jordan Lewis on the slot blitz. Jordan Lewis played really well in this football game too. That's difficult dealing with Cooper and Njoku, and I mean their quarterback is broken. There's no question. The offensive line there right now is broken. There's teams in the past, Dallas Cowboy teams in the past, that wouldn't have taken advantage of a broken quarterback and a broken offensive line. They did. Good for them. I mean, that's what they've got to do. If somebody is going to be that banged up, give Dallas credit, though. I'm not sitting here trying to take away from them, but we've seen games in the past where, the Giants with four offensive linemen out of the game, and all of a sudden Eli Manning's putting up 39 points or some crap like that. You know what I'm saying? So good for Mike Zimmer and the boys for getting that one done the way they did.
If you're here and you're in the chat and you can hit the like and subscribe, we sure would appreciate it. This is, of course, Bryan Broaddus from 105.3 The Fan. You can also hear him with Vach Lombardi. You can hear him on the Love of the Star podcast. You can hear him everywhere because Bryan is a psycho that likes working way too much. Either that or doesn't know what to do if he's not working. And if you have anybody that you would like to know about from this game, feel free to throw that in the chat.
Please
if you want to throw your favorite animal emoji in the chat, I sure would appreciate it. So the defensive tackle group, all four of them.
Yeah.
In real time watching football,
it was a good rotation. Even, with Mozzie was part of the rotation. I know the TV copy, you can't always tell what's going on. I'm sorry to interrupt your question. But it was a good rotation. So I'll let you ask your question on that.
So that's what I was going to say, because as someone who doesn't have access to the top secret wizard files, I'll be able to probably watch tape this afternoon or this evening.
You'll enjoy it.
So in real time, exactly what you're saying. I don't really notice which guys are in at D tackle,
right?
Because I'm kind of watching the game, and it's easier to watch other things. But I know that they weren't able to run the ball well. No. I know that the Cowboys got a bunch of pressure. I don't know that I noticed D tackles being a huge part of that, but that group as a whole that was worried that it would be a weakness and then it might be, it sure didn't seem, that group and anybody individually that stood out to you.
Yeah, no, as a group, the defensive line, and I felt like watching the TV copy of the game last night, and when we were doing the post-game show with myself and Zach Wolchuk, what I felt like was that the stats didn't say that Osa Odighizuwa probably had a great game. You watch the tape. Osa Odighizuwa was part of what they were doing as a run defender, as a pass rusher. They played some games up front. Great job by in week one of making it difficult on this Browns offensive line. The alignments, some of the best pass rushes they had were when they put Lawrence, they put Osa, they put Nealon inside, and they put Parsons on the outside. Or then they would flip it, where they would put Parsons on the inside, Nealon on the outside, and then Osa and Tank. And then they would go to war with that look. That gave their offensive line a problem. Some of the alignments of Zimmer putting Parsons and Tank on the same side meant single blocks to that side, because what happened was they're doubling Mozzie, or they're doubling Mozzie, say, on the other side, or they're doubling Osa on the other side, or they're sliding where the center doesn't even block anybody, or the guard doesn't even block anybody. So now, instead of sliding the protection to account for guys, they're just blocking it normal, thinking like, wait a minute, the guys are supposed to be here that we're supposed to block. There was some serious thought that went into this game, and that's what really happened a first game and all kind of off season. Let's get ready for the Cleveland Browns. Let's sit around all week and watch some tape and see what we can do. They didn't know that they were going to get the matchups they did, but the creativity that they did to get to it, the tackles. I mentioned Mozzie earlier. When you get a chance to watch the tape and others get to watch the tape, you're going to be pleasantly surprised of Mozzie Smith, the squareness he played with, the power that he played with. There were some points early in the game where he was a lot more active, and then he kind of got a little bit wore down, but he was part of a rotation where him and Phillips and Linville Joseph and those guys. I mean, Linville Joseph and Phillips next to each other inside like that helps your run defense. It really does. They don't give ground. And you got linebackers, as we talked about in this early segment, Jeff, where they're running the football. And the safeties, Wilson, guys are playing down. They're making plays. So it looked good through week one as far as how they were playing the rotation. Did a good job of keeping guys fresh. Even Golston got involved, playing some defensive tackle, playing a lot more on the edge, kind of taking some reps for Tank. But Tank was Tank of old. It's like he's like, oh my God, these guys I'm playing with, Tank has gone from the guy that everybody was worried about to probably being the third option now. Now it's helped him. It's helped him, and he still plays the run very well. The rush and the passer, he missed a couple of sacks. He's going to be sick when he sits down and watches the tape. That quarterback, if you kind of arm tackle him, he's going to fall off you a little bit. But I'll tell you what, though, overall, the front seven was on the screws yesterday.
So they had 6 sacks, and if you're saying that Tank is going to be sick, Micah's going to be sick too, right? I feel like he could have had 4 sacks. Deshaun got out of a couple of his.
Post game, Micah was. We had to beep him out a couple of times. Some of the language that he used on the post game, because of the he knew that he had. I mean, the textbook tackling stuff is Overshown. What he was doing, that ability to run, close, wrap, and get the guy on the ground.
I bet he has longer arms than Micah. Micah just can't get as far around you.
That was impressive. But yeah, Micah, he's going to. There are a couple of times where, like, scheme, what Dallas did. Dallas did not just sit in a front the whole game and say, okay, we're going to play this way. They got after it, and maybe it's a week 1 thing, and hopefully it'll be a little bit more creativity, because there was creativity. But there was a lot of different, when you sit down and start counting the number of different looks and combinations that they had across that front, and with the combination of the linebackers, you're going to go, okay, this Mike Zimmer, he gets it. He gets it. And they had a really good plan for this quarterback.
Next guy, Kalen Carson, having to start as a rookie. And if you just look at Amari Cooper's stat line, you would say Carson was great. And if you see that he batted down a couple of balls, could have had a pick. That was good.
He's got bad ball skills, though. This kid,
this
kid, you watch him at Wake Forest, and he was one of those guys where you're like going, gosh, he should have more interceptions. And I mean this in no disrespect to the kid, but you could even see it on the sidelines when the ball went in the air. I mean, he stretched as far as he could. If he was maybe McQuamu's size, he might have picked that thing off. It was just on the tip. But
if he was McQuamu's size, he would get slant and goad and have Amari Cooper be open by 18 yards.
Yeah, that's McQuamu, but that's every once in a while. I'll be interested to see how they play that. That Booth was inactive yesterday, so I'll be interested to see how that plays going forward. But the thing that I think with Carson, the one I'd like to have back for him was the touchdown on the goal line. I felt like that it was Judy that ran the out on him there at the goal line, and I don't think he saw it particularly quick. He jumped the very first ball they threw at him.
He was going for a pick six and just couldn't get there.
And you see Al Harris just on the sidelines, kind of just like, give it that look. But I kind of like where I like where he's at. He's got toughness about him. He's a willing tackler. The one thing that secondary looked like, even Diggs, looked like they were more willing to step up and tackle. There wasn't that timidness that we've kind of seen in the past. There one time the ball goes the outside, Diggs kind of forces things back to the inside just by the way of playing with a little bit of more force over there. But Carson, he's going to learn. He's going to get better. He's super competitive. He gets it. The driving on the ball, stay off the guy, don't interfere. The illegal contact penalty was bad. He was in terrible position. He got the receiver ran into him, and he had really no choice but to kind of grab and hold because he was in such bad body position on the play, which allowed them the 5-yard penalty and stuff. It could have been pass interference if the ball was in the air, and it would have been like a 30-yard play. But he'll learn, and he'll get better. But the confidence is there. Like I say, on the goal line, when you watch it, you're thinking, okay, man, you just got to close that thing a little quicker and drive on that ball and see if you can make a play right there on the goal line.
I wondered when I watched that play, because after that play, I was like, oh, I wish he had kind of gotten on his horse a little bit quicker.
He was. It's like he wasn't really he watched it develop and then reacted instead of like, I see what you're about to do to me. You're going to, you're not going to get the out and up on that down in the tight red zone.
No, but I wonder if it was because I liked that play design a lot because
it's a good design.
If you can get that spacing right, they're both running outs and you're used to somebody's coming in, somebody's crossing somebody, and it was just out and out. And if you can get that spacing right, I think that's going to be hard for people because you don't believe it's coming.
Donovan Wilson was to that side too, and there's always been kind of some shadiness with Donovan Wilson coverage down there on the goal line, and maybe some communication not right. Maybe if he had somebody inside that's kind of used to. But Dono, I'm kind of laughing right now, man. That hit he had on Judy across the middle, it was one of the better passes that Watson threw, and shoulder into body, knocking the ball loose, big play, big hit down the field. So, good for them on that one.
Marshawn Nealand. I mean, obviously the defensive
Yeah.
line looked good as a whole. It looked like the edge guys did a great job holding up and letting linebackers make plays. They got after the quarterback. What part did he play?
He played a pretty nice part, playing left end, right end, getting some work inside, as I mentioned, as a nickel player. Almost had a chance for a sack. We're starting to see. Starting to see week one, but through training camp and practices, this kid's kind of getting a little bit better understanding of being an edge rusher and what that's going to entail for him. Had a nice pressure off the defense's right side. He's bending it. He's diving. I mean, he's literally trying to low shoulder run to get to the quarterback. Did a good job of staying out of Watson's knees. The ball got out, but you could see that he had the idea of run, dip, and bend as hard as you can to get to the quarterback. It threw him off balance a little bit, but you were kind of worried that him coming out of college, he was going to be rush down the middle, rush down the middle, rush down the middle guy. He's kind of has an understanding now that you know what, if you're going to have success in the NFL, you've got to be able to rush the passer. He did a great job of playing the run. There was a couple of times where the ball where Ford tried to get to the outside and he was on that edge. He was on the edge. Lewis was on the edge, and then allowed everybody to come hustle over there. You know, he didn't get turned. We've seen times last year with guys like Armstrong and Williams and Fowler and those guys. And I'm not just throwing those guys under the bus, but they weren't as good against the run playing on that right side. And he's got a lot more power, a lot more strength, a lot more leverage to hold up there if the ball does spill his way.
Who was the other one? Who was the other one? ADHD, ADHD. How did you, I thought Zeke might have looked better than I thought he would. No, yeah. I'm not getting with y'all. They're like, see, we told you he's amazing. But I thought he might have had a little bit more than I thought he did.
I'll tell you what, Ezekiel Elliott, they had a couple of runs that they missed. And I say this missed, the blocking wasn't always clean. When it got clean on one play, that was on Rico Dowdle. You'll see that one where cut it. You know, they get the thing we were talking about. They get the combo. They get the push. They get the linebacker secure. And Rico Dowdle takes it inside. I know we're talking about Zeke, but I'm just saying running game thoughts. You know, Dowdle takes it, and he kind of, it's almost like BB's butt was turned a little in the hole, which maybe made Dowdle think he had to cut it this way. If he cuts it, if he just naturally reads it, it's a bigger gain. They would have had some bigger gains. What I would have liked to have seen out of that game yesterday, Jeffrey, is if Zeke would have had 8 carries for 40 yards in the second half, that's where I would have thought things were going the right direction for the first half runs. I think there was some. There was when you go back and you look at it, I talked about some creative runs. The way that they tried to run the ball in the second half was they got into some 21 personnel with the 2 backs, 1 tight end. They got into some 22, 2 backs, 2 tight ends. Hunter Lipke was actually your best blocking guy when it came to Schoonmaker, when it came to Span Ford and Hunter Lipke. Those were the guys. Hunter Lipke was the better of those guys when it came to that. So they tried to get in some heavy personnel late in the game and try and run the ball a little bit better. The vision on a couple of them I thought were really, really good. The touchdown run that Zeke had was a really good, it was a well-blocked play. But yeah, if it was 8 carries, 40 yards second half where it was tough, you're ahead, I would have said, okay, I felt like first half running game has got a chance.
Yeah.
Second half running game has no chance. Yeah. That's kind of where, and they tried to supplement it, like I mentioned, with 21 personnel and 22 personnel to try and get a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier in there, and they just didn't get the biggest problem that I saw were lack of sustain at times, and then where did we need to fit in order to help the backs.
Is Jake Ferguson going to be okay? I don't want to do football without Jake Ferguson.
Last night, I heard that MRI as we speak today, and it didn't appear there was any ligament damage. Those were the two things that I heard.
I'll take it.
He was wearing ice and a wrap, according to Bobby Belt, who was in the locker room, and told us ice and ace bandage wrap.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, on the way home, I got it doesn't appear any ligament damage, but we're going to MRI today, and I guarantee you somebody like Clarence Hill or Todd Archer or somebody like that will be happy to tell you who or what happened.
Kicking ass.
Yeah.
I'll be doing a show with Clarence Hill here in about an hour and a half. YouTube.com/@DLLS_sports. Make sure that you're over there and we'll party and everything. And Bryan, of course, you can find on The Fan. You can find him with Bobby Belt on Love the Star. You can find him with Vach Lombardi here on YouTube. You can find him with me on YouTube. You can find him everywhere.
Yeah, I'm about to do this. I got to go shower and do DallasCowboys.com. I got the break.
Sorry, DallasCowboys.com is the fifth one.
Yeah, and then Vach and I are going to talk tonight, and Bobby are going to talk tonight. So happy Monday, everybody. Enjoy the football.
You're psycho. Go football. Remember, you have no idea what anyone's going through. Be cool to everyone. We love you. Be easy. Bye.